Welcome to Firebolt Consulting. We are a Salesforce staffing and services organization based out of California. And today we'll talk about knowledge management. Now, knowledge management is essential for service organizations, call centers, anyone who's in a customer service position that needs to look up information. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Some of the essential pieces is what we'll look at first. Okay. So here's a quick overview. The first step is to activate the knowledge license for users. And then you need to enable knowledge 1. This enables smart recommendations. And finally, you need to create record pages for knowledge articles. Now, users, there are two types. Those who consume these articles, and the others are the ones writing these. So some organizations may have some kind of an approval process before those articles are published. And then these are the users who are accessing these articles. Service setups flow, which makes it so much easier for us. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. Hi, we're logged into our Salesforce application. Now the first step is to use the service setups flow for knowledge management. So I'm going to click on the gray icon, which is for setup, and then click on service setup. Now, service setup essentially is part of the Service Cloud, which lets you with some recommended setup. What we'll do is we'll click on view all. Now, knowledge management is right here, but just in case you don't see it here, all you have to do is click on view all and search for what you need to do. Okay, and then go ahead and click on knowledge setup. All right, as you can see here, the goal here is self-service. So these are the 3 steps we'll take. First one is enable lightning knowledge and select who the authors are, those who are able to create and publish these articles, and finally organize them into various data categories. And we can do all of this through this flow, which is so much easier for most folks. All right, so let's go ahead and click on start. Now, at this point, I only have one user, so I could select that user. Now, you would likely have lots of users and you can select them. Okay, all right, next. Once we have selected a user, the next thing is to be able to identify the various data categories. So I'm going to select FAQ as a data category group. So I can have articles and FAQ as one of the categories. I could also have information about pricing, common issues. So you can design so far I have 3 of them, and that's good enough. That's a good start. You can always go back and add more later. Okay, and let's go ahead and click on next. Now what this flow is doing is it does a lot of the groundwork for us in we are ready to start creating your articles. So the first action is create some articles. So let's click here. Now what this does is it launches your application and you can see you are in the knowledge section. Of course, at this point I don't have any articles, so let me go ahead and create a new one. Click on the new button, and the title is Savings on Solar Water Heater. Okay, so that's your name, and when you press tab, it automatically takes you to the URL name field and populates this information. You would notice that it replaces spaces with hyphens. Next question is the question field, so I click on edit, and here I type it out as a question. How much will I save if I install a solar water heater? Okay, let's move on to the answer field, and I press Ctrl V. So let's say you're bringing these from a document or a spreadsheet, you could copy and paste them. Just know that Control V is what you want to use rather than right click and paste. Okay. All right. So once you have that, so you can decide whether you want this to be available in a public knowledge base, whether it's visible to customers and partners. For the time being, you can select these, and you'll notice that it defaults to the internal apps, of course. Okay. So I can click on save and new. So let me create a new article. So here say cost of installation of solar water heater. Okay, now this is different from the savings. Okay, so let's say the question is, what is the cost of installing a solar water heater? Okay, let's go to answer, and here say solar water heater installation depends on the size of the solar heater and the electrical setup at home or work. Typical range is from $300 to, let's say, $700. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this visible to customers, partners, as well as in the public knowledge base. Let's go ahead and click on save. So now I have two articles. Okay, and we'll go ahead and publish both the articles. So this is the cost of the installation. I'll click on publish and select publish now. And the savings was another. So I went to the draft knowledge articles, and here again I'm gonna go ahead and publish. As you can see here, the schedule can be changed. You can set it up to be available from 1st of April if you so desire, but for the time being I'm gonna go ahead and select today's date, or even publish now. Okay, our articles are published, and now what we'll do is we'll switch gears and go to Service Console. Okay, so let's say we get a new case from a customer about the savings of a solar panel. Okay, so let me see if I can set up one of the existing customers. I'll just quickly create a new one. John Smith is a customer. For the time being, that's all I need. As long as I have the phone number and email address, we should be good to go. All right. So let me save this contact, and we'll create a case for this contact. Okay. So in the description, I'll go ahead and just create a simple case. We don't need to fill out the rest of the details for the time being. I'll just say savings on solar water heater. Interested in solar water heater. Okay, so we create that, and let's go ahead and click on save the case origin. Let's say this was through a phone call. Let me go ahead and save it. And what you would notice here, let me close this panel a little. And what you would notice here is there are two articles that are suggested based on the solar water heater. So in this case, the customer is interested in savings. So I could basically hover over it, see the details. I could edit it if needed, but for now what I want to do is I want to send this as an attachment. So I can attach the article. Now let me create a new case unrelated to solar water heaters. Let's see if we get the same knowledge base recommendation. So let's say this came in through an email from the same customer, John Smith. Yep, I see John Smith right here. And let's go to this subject. Okay, now the knowledge articles pull based on the subject. So here I say risk of electrical shock on, let's say, electric scooters. Customer wants to scooters. Alright, so I have this. If you have any internal comments, you can write that. And of course, you could also send a notification. So let me click on save. Probably pulling the cost, but I'm not seeing any questions or any of the suggested articles related to the cost savings. So this is good, right? So, all right. So that was a brief introduction to knowledge management. I would highly recommend that you explore the trailhead and get back to me with any questions you have. Thank you again for joining this leg of the journey on knowledge management. Thank you.